Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. Welcome to Escape from Crazytown and our Happy Crappy Hour, where we weekly get together to talk about our happies and our crappies, what went well this week and what did not go well this week. So, the things that went well, we want to continue doing. The things that did not go well, we want to learn from. So, we're going to share those things with each other, encourage one another, and move forward in our lives. Well, today's topic is why do narcissists obsess over their exes? And I know this is a thing that gets you thinking because we spend a lot of time obsessing over the narcissist and wondering if they even cared, if we meant anything to them, if any of the things they said to us that were endearing, if any of those things were real, if they were true, if the narcissist meant any of it, right? So we go back and we replay our relationship to see where things went wrong. Because a lot of times, even though there are red flags and we know it's not going well, it's still really painful when it ends. It's still really, I don't want to say shocking, but in a way it is. It's jolting, right? It jolts you out of your comfort or your comfortable or your habits, your regular life, and now you're living a new life and a different life than you expected. And you're thinking, what the heck? Did the narcissist even care? Does the narcissist even think about me? Especially if you've been together for a very long time. Those of you who've been married for decades, or even if it had been just a couple of years. And actually, I know of cases where the relationships were only a few months long, if that. And the narcissist gets in so deeply that they leave a huge scar. So the question is, well, first of all, do the narcissists obsess over their exes? And the title of this thing suggests that they do, because they do obsess over their exes. Well, hold on, you guys. I have something wrong with the way. Well, I guess it's okay. My phone is not quite on its stand properly. Hopefully, it doesn't fall off. So, welcome, you guys. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour. Um, Let me see. Obi, good to see you. Says, my happy is I finally filed the correct court papers, and now my ex is forced to sit in front of a counselor court appointed, and she gets exposed. Wow, wow. Okay, let's see what happens now, right? That is the best. When the narcissist has to what is it? Be responsible. Yes, is exposed and has to account for what they have done in your life and the trauma and the damage they had done. Well, there is another side to all of this. And we want to know what's going on with the narcissist. Not that we should look, right? But the truth is, excuse me, guys. The truth is, the narcissist does obsess over their ex. They do obsess over you. They may not obsess over all of their exes because a lot of their exes are going to be people who they use temporarily for a very brief time and then they move on. But those who have been with the narcissist for longer than a one night stand, let's say, or a 1 week stand, um, they do obsess over you. They obsess over the fact or the part where you obsessed over them. They miss that. They miss that you were always willing and always paying attention to them and giving them incredible supply. They miss that you were fawning over them and just lusting over them and thought they were the best thing ever and believed everything that they said. They miss that because as their relationship with the new supply starts to dwindle, starts to crack and crumble, they're going to miss the times when you used to pay such good attention to them and were so good to them. They're they're miserable when they're miserable in their new relationship. And maybe it's not so new. It's the point when the new supply starts to stand up for themselves, right? The new supply actually has a life of their own. The new supply is not doing all the things that the narcissist wants them to do. This is when they'll linger back and look back at the good times, if you will, right? The good times, if you can think of it like that, for them, where they had control over you, where you were willing to do whatever they wanted to do, where you were extremely accommodating. Because at this point, the new supply is not accommodating. The new supply is putting their foot down and, getting a backbone and deciding that they're not going to take it from the narcissist anymore, right? They're holding the narcissist accountable. And the narcissist looks back at your relationship. Now, you might look back and think, I wasn't always compliant. I wasn't always fawning over them. We had fights, we had problems. But the narcissist, when they look back, they only see what they want to see at that moment. Like if they want to complain about you, yes, they're going to only see all the bad you've ever done and nothing else. And and just be grateful, or not grateful, but be glad that they're with somebody else, right? But when their current reality is a disaster, they're going to look back at their past relationships with rose colored glasses. They're going to see them more perfect than they ever were. And they're going to think, oh, if I can just go back to that, I'll be happy. And this is when they start hoovering you guys. This is when they will try to contact you, send out a little text to say hello, or a little bait out, put out a little bait out there just to see if you'll respond, because they're thinking about only the good times, and they're thinking that they can have all these good times without accounting for all the bad times and the misery they put you through. They're going to think that you don't even remember the bad times because, like narcissists think, they can only imagine that you think exactly the way they do. So you're going to be, to them, they're thinking you're going to be exactly where they are emotionally, exactly where they are in missing you. So you must be missing them. They're seeing all the good times, so you must be thinking about all the good times. This is why when the narcissist comes back into your life, and they've hoovered you back in, promising you the world, promising you they've changed, promising that things are going to be so different this time around. And this time around, though, you're different. You don't want to put up with their junk anymore, right? You don't want to put up with their irresponsibility, their negligence, their downright moodiness, and their anger tantrums and their manipulations. You don't want to put up with that anymore. You did once when you were naive, right? But now you know better. Well, that's why the second time around it fails much more quickly, because you stand up for yourself, and the narcissist is not used to that. They're not going to like it, and they're going to try to get away at that point, or they're just going to make your life miserable, or they're just going to discard you out of the blue and run, because they realize that they can't just have you exactly the way they wanted in their mind, the perfect relationship that they imagined in their mind that they're coming back to. That is one reason why the narcissist obsesses over you. Another reason the narcissist obsesses over you is when they are between new supply. When they are alone, they have time to think. They have time to go back and review past relationships. And this is when generally narcissists don't look back and think about the worst of the relationship when they're alone. When they're alone, they're very vulnerable to thinking only about the good things that happened in their past relationships. And then they will obsess over you because they're only seeing the good things, because they're feeling miserable right now. They're feeling alone right now. Maybe they've even been discarded by the previous new supply. So they're injured, their ego is down, and they're going to think about the things that you did that built up their ego, the things that you did that made them feel loved and appreciated and admired and even probably worshipped, right? They're thinking that that's what they deserve, and that's what they're going to focus on. Now, there's a there's a third thing that makes the narcissist obsess over you, whether they're with the new supply or in between supply, or whether they're alone or not. The third thing that they will cause them to obsess over you is if they see you doing well. Yes, if they see that you are doing great financially, first of all, they're going to be jealous. They're going to be jealous of that because they're thinking that that's what they were trying to get out of you when they were with you. And or even if you didn't have a career when you were with them, but then you got your act together and you poured into yourself and you got trained in something that, some skill that was needed, and you're out there now and you are doing way better than they are financially. They're going to be so jealous. And remember how narcissists believe that they own you? Yeah, they actually believe that they own you and that you are obligated to them. Even if they discard you, they still believe that they have some attachment to you, right? And when they see you making a ton of money, they're going to feel like they deserve that money, even though it has nothing to do with them, even though it's a career you started after you had already been discarded by them, or maybe after you had left them. And they're going to see that they deserve half of what you have. So that's a bad obsession, by the way, that they will have over you. But they might actually start to feel feelings for you too. But it's not really for you, it's for your money, it's for how well you're doing, it's for your assets. They're longing and lusting over that. And then if you are also something that they enjoyed, right? Your personality, your whatever, I'm not going to get into the bedroom stuff, but that stuff. If that was something that they miss about you, they will start to obsess about that again. And like I said before, they're only going to think about the good times. They're only going to think about when things were going well, those mornings you woke up and things were good and happy, at least for the first 5 minutes, right? Before they started getting mad and complaining about everything you were doing and how you brush your teeth or how you put the towel away. They don't even remember any of those because they don't remember when they're being critical. They don't remember when they messed up the whole vacation. They don't remember that they're the one who threw a tantrum for 2 days out of your 4-day vacation, right? They're not going to remember that. They're not going to remember that they're the ones who crashed the car and caused financial trauma, right, to the two of you. They don't believe it. They don't remember it, and they're only going to think about the good times. And even the times when you look back and you think, that was a horrible time, that was the worst time ever, because we had the worst fight that night that lasted until the morning. They're not going to remember that. They're only going to remember the part where you caved in and you were nice to them and you catered to them and you even made them breakfast, right? The next morning, trying to calm them down or get them to stop their tirade. They're only going to remember how obedient you were. And that's what they're going to miss and obsess over. Now, if they're still with the new supply and the new supply is starting to wake up, the new supply is putting their foot down, setting some boundaries, right? The new supply is not going to have any of this. So when that starts to happen, they're going to start looking back fondly about the times when you did give in to them, the times that you did try to appease them, the times that you gave in, right? And they're going to think, well, why can't the new supply be like that? Why can't the new supply do what you had done for them? They're going to start obsessing over you. And this is where triangulation, they'll use that to try to control the new supply. And they'll talk so highly of you, like you were the best thing ever, and that they regret cutting you loose, right? Is what the way they're going to put it. That they regret discarding you for the new supply. But they're not going to let you know that. They're not going to tell the new supply, or they're not going to bring up the bad times. Although they already has told the new supply about the bad times with you. It only is going to make the argument with the new supply worse, because the new supply is going to be like, hey, you also told me your ex did, XYZ, and your ex was crazy, and your ex was controlling, and your ex was critical. Remember, they project everything they are onto you. So the new supply is going to start saying, wait a minute, now suddenly you're looking back at your ex as if this was an ideal person and a perfect partner. The new supply is going to get so frustrated and so mad at the narcissist, but the narcissist is going to keep playing this over and over in their head. How you did comply, how you did do those nice things, how you did surprise them now and again with a gift, or a trip, or a getaway, or a nice dinner, how you thought of them. Even though they complained about the dinner you made for them, right? They're not going to remember that. They're not going to remember the fight they had and that they even threw the dinner onto the floor. But they're going to remember that you cooked for them and that it actually was a nice dinner, and they were just mad at the time, so they took it out on you. It is absolute. Sorry, it's just so I want to curse, because it makes me so angry when I think back at those times when the narcissist was so mean, so uh, so abusive, and yet they'll look back at those times as if those were good times. And that is how deranged they are. They will look back at times when they were abusive towards you and remember that you were nice to them. Remember that you kowtowed to them, that you gave in. Remember that they'll remember that you apologized, even though you weren't at fault, right? And those times that we look back at and we thought were total nightmares, they'll look back fondly. It's just horrible. But this is when they start to obsess over you. Now, it's all a mirage. It's not even real, the things that they're imagining. But another thing, so I do have a fourth reason that they obsess over you. And this is a big one. They're going to obsess over you when you move on with somebody better than them. Somebody better looking, somebody more stable financially, somebody who is more liked in the community, right? Maybe somebody even with status in the community. So they are going to just go crazy when they see that you have moved on without them, even though they're the one who discarded you, even though they're the one who got bored or tired of you and complained about you incessantly and dumped you. And then you, after you've recovered, after you have worked on yourself, and after you have realized what you do deserve, the kind of man or woman you deserve to be with, you start to realize that you're worth it. You actually start dating quality people. You actually start seeing and being around and surrounding yourself with quality people. And when you do that, you're going to end up with quality people. When the narcissist sees this, they are going to go absolutely crazy, because what happens is they stay mired in the low quality people. They will, because they high quality people don't generally stay with a narcissist. So high quality people will come to their senses at some point and get away from the narcissist. Now, when I say high quality, I don't mean that if you had stayed with a narcissist for 20 years, you were not a high quality person. You were simply possibly traumatized to the point where you couldn't get out, where you didn't feel like you were empowered or that you had the ability to get away. You had such depleted self-esteem. And I gotta say, part of that does contribute to a quality of a person. If your self-esteem is completely gone, you're not going to pour into yourself. You're not going to make yourself a better person. You're essentially this crushed victim that cannot help either themselves or others. So, this is what I mean. The narcissist only likes to surround themselves with people who are going to need them, right? Who are going to put up with them. They, they, they can't survive or stay on for very long with people who have their crap together, right? Because people who have their crap together are going to be like, I need to cut you out because you are draining me. And that's what narcissists do. They drain them. It's sad. Oh, I'm just thinking about a situation where the narcissist, everybody starts to abandon the narcissist. Almost everybody. There may be one new supply that's willing to stick around. And that's only if the narcissist has some financial ability to take care of them or financial benefit to the new supply. So again, that's a low quality person, because a low quality person will put up with a narcissist just so they have financial stability. A high quality person is going to be able to stand on their own feet and won't need the narcissist's money. They would want, they would actually have choice. They would have a choice of who they want in their life. So they pick and choose the quality people they want to interact with and share life with. With a with a narcissist, they'll drive away all these quality people. They'll cheat, lie, steal from them, um, and people will just abandon ship like crazy, you guys. So here's the narcissist. They're going to be by themselves or possibly with a low quality person, and they're looking at you, and you're moving upwards. And they're thinking, how can you possibly be moving upwards when at one point in your life you needed the narcissist? You relied on the narcissist. You loved the narcissist, right? And they're going to think that there's a way for them to get that back. They're going to delude themselves into thinking that you somehow miss something that they can give you, right? Maybe it's the physical aspect of your relationship. So they're going to compare themselves to your new partner. They are going to criticize your new partner. Even if your new partner is extremely good looking, they're going to say how ugly your new partner is, right? They're going to try to pick at, like, even if your new partner one day has a pimple, like, big deal, right? The pimple goes away, but they're going to focus in on that and how ugly your new supply looks. They're I shouldn't call your new supply. I'm sorry. It'd be more. It's your partner. It's your new spouse. It's your the new person, new man, new woman in your life. They are going to pick apart your partner as if your partner is just supply for you. Remember, they project. They project onto you what they do to people. So they're going to look at your relationship with your partner as if it's just a temporary thing. And they are going to obsess and think that they can win you back from that partner. They're going to either make your life miserable and make you think, this is the part where I think it's total crazy town, because it's illogical thinking. They're going to think that if they can make your life extremely miserable, your partner will leave you, and then you'll go running back to the narcissist. That's how deranged they are. They actually think that if they somehow force your partner away, that you are going to be so sad and so miserable that you'll come running back to the narcissist. I've watched crime shows on this, you guys, where, I mean, they become murderous. It's horrid. It's very, very creepy and scary. But I remember watching a crime show where this woman, and she was a pretty attractive woman. She, not just pretty attractive, she was very attractive. And she was dating, I'm trying to remember if he was like a dentist or a physical therapist or something like that, right? Yeah. So she dated him for a while. And you can see by what he did later on why she left him. Like, if that's the temperament he had, then what the heck? Yeah, I understand. He must have been very controlling and very obsessive or possessive with her. So anyway, she breaks it off with him. And even though it had been a year, she started dating this other guy who's a successful doctor, much better looking than the other guy, much more successful than the other guy. And turns out she wasn't the doctor's only partner, I guess, at the time. So okay, this is so convoluted. So doctor number two, the new one that she's with, he gets murdered. And what they find out is that her ex, at first they thought it was all these other women that he was dating, and somebody must have got jealous, or their boyfriend must have got jealous or something, right? And they went through all these avenues trying to find the murderer. Turns out it was this one woman's ex from a year ago who was so obsessed with her that he thought if he could get rid of that partner, rid of her new man, that she would come crying back to him because she would be so sad, and he would be there for her to have a shoulder to cry on, and she would come back to him. That is how convoluted their thinking is. So when they see you having moved on with somebody better, with somebody good, be very careful that you stay away from them, that you do not, I mean, it's so sad, but these psychopaths out there, these narcissistic psychopaths that are out there, it's hard to tell, but try not to get into these relationships with them, and definitely don't go long term with them. So on the one hand, when you think you want the narcissist to obsess over you, on the other hand, you really don't. Because if they obsess over you, they're going to feel like they own you. They're going to feel like they have a right to take from you anything that they want. So be very careful of that. You don't want to flaunt in front of the narcissist. You don't want to parade in front of them how much better off you are now that you're away from them. You just want to live your life and extricate yourself from any relationship at all with the narcissist. Well, you guys, I want to see what's going on here. Thank you. Good to see you coming on. Hi, John. Lefty A, good morning. Wow. Yep. Lefty A says, I was discarded 3 months ago for a married woman. Why would he leave a 6-year relationship for someone who is attached? Ooh. Yeah, because for the narcissist, one of their obsessions are things that they socially, maybe in society, are not supposed to have. So something that's off limits. So a married woman's supposed to be off limits. So they get some kind of a high or ego boost to think that they can take this person away from an established relationship. Also, it's possible that they feel some competition with the husband, right? He feels some competition with her husband and feels like he should win. He sees this woman as a prize that he should be able to have and that he can take away from somebody else at any time. Oh my gosh, I have another crime story for you about that, by the way. There is a crime story where this woman and her husband, actually, there are several stories of this, where the husband has a best friend, and the best friend and the wife concoct something, and I can't remember how they killed him, but he died, right, in a suspicious nature, but they couldn't say that it was murder, all right? So the husband dies, and within a month, she's moved in with the best friend. And within a few weeks after that, or maybe 6 months, they're married. So right away, you're like, what? What the heck? How does that? I mean, I guess it could happen, but in this case, it turned out so bad because after they were together, and they were together for like 9 years, then she gets rid of husband number 2 in the same manner that husband number 1 was, had died. So that's when the police came in and were like, wait a minute, how come husband number two died in a same way that husband number one did? And they come to find out that, after they exhumed the body and everything, they come to find out that the injuries made to husband number one was exactly the same as husband number two. Now, this happens actually in other crime shows I've seen too, where it was the other way around, where it was the wives that were discarded, and not just discarded, like they were murdered. Like, oh, my wife fell down the stairs and broke her neck was one of these stories. And then he marries another woman, and then, oh, surprisingly, she fell down the stairs and broke her neck too 30 years later. You're like, what the heck? So it's really weird. Sometimes narcissists, these psychopaths, do not move from relationship to relationship as fast as you might think. I mean, some of them can't do that. They're not as good looking. They're not as charming. They're not going to catch people so quickly, so readily. They're going to want to hold on to something or someone who is good enough for now, like who makes their life better, who contributes in some way, that so they don't have to be alone, or so they can be taken care of. They'll stick around with that person for a while, and then when they're done with that person, they'll discard them the same way they did with spouse number one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've learned so much about narcissistic abuse through crime shows, actually, because you see the characteristics of a narcissist come alive in the psychopaths. And that's why there are psychologists out there that will say that not all narcissists are psychopaths, but all psychopaths are narcissists. All psychopaths have this grandiose view of themselves, right? They think they're the smartest person in the room. They think they're the most charming. They think they're even probably the best looking. Even if they're not like classically good looking, they'll still think like, because of my charm, I'm more attractive than even this really hot person that's in the room who's a model. They're going to still think that there's some special quality about them that sets them apart. They think that they're extraordinary, so they deserve more and better than everybody else. They also don't see other people as people. They don't see other people as having a whole life and families and relationships and others who care about them. So they feel like they can come in and take whatever they want. They feel like they can come in and do whatever they want, and everybody should just automatically understand that that the narcissist deserves this. That's how they behave. That's how they think. Well, you guys, let me see what is going on here. BB Scott, good to see you. Yeah, glad to see you. It's been a while. Wow, what is this? Okay. Letty says, I saw some signs. He used to flirt with a married woman at his church in front of her husband. Yep. He told me and laughed about it. Yeah, they will do this just to see like what the husband will do. They want to they want to create chaos because to them, oh, hold on. Had to get some water. Because to them, when we have a reaction to them, that gives them power. So if the husband reacts, or even if the husband doesn't react, in that case, they know that they can get away with it, right? They just want to push the envelope. Oh, James, good to see you. Says, she sold all the gold and diamonds I had, got her over the years. I was hurt so bad that I left. Oh, so she sold it while you guys were still together. Wow. Yeah, that's the way narcissists are. They don't appreciate what you get. There's no sentimental value to things that you give them or that you do for them, or even you. You're not a you don't have sentimental value to them. You just have purpose, right? What is your purpose in their life? That is what they're looking for. They want to know what your use is. And that's why we call their partners supply. Their supply. What does this supply for them? Well, you guys, let me see here. Oh, I did want to say yes. I agree with Obi here. He says, consider it a blessing, Letty, that your narcissist ex has left. It is an absolute blessing, you guys. Oh, hey, by the way, while I'm thinking about this, I forgot to mention it earlier. If you guys would subscribe or give me a thumbs up or give me a comment, that would be really appreciated. And also, if you can watch a commercial once in a while on my channel, I would love that. Thank you so much. It just helps me to keep doing this. But you guys, let's go back to why the narcissist obsesses over their ex. The narcissist obsesses over you even though they're not going to let you know that. There is a danger zone, you guys, to when the narcissist obsesses over you. Don't let it get to the point where they feel like they are entitled to take from you, okay? Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is really sickening. People have got to wake up to this. Even in the news in the last year, I was watching something, and I'm not going to mention the name because it was pretty charged. But this guy, hold on. This guy came to assault his ex. And in the meantime, he tries to hijack her car, her van, which had her kids in it. I'm not quite sure. I should have read up the story a little bit more, but I really wanted to distance myself from all of the craziness that was surrounding it, the story. But essentially, he felt that he was entitled to take her children. He felt that he was entitled to hurt her physically. There's another one, the crimes that we've seen that were actually quite high profile. Think about it. Think about these people who are hailed as victims, right? The narcissists are being hailed as victims of society or of their upbringing or maybe how the world has treated them. I'm like, they're living in the same world we are, right? They have to abide by the same rules we abide by. They, have hard knocks. We have hard knocks. They, for some reason, society right now wants to, how do you say this? Wants to paint narcissists in a good light. For some reason, right now, society wants to feel like, actually, maybe this is the reason. Our society has become so narcissistic that their empathy has totally flipped. Their sense of empathy has flipped towards the aggressor and against the victim, to the point where they're calling the aggressor the victim, and the victim, who even in another high profile case recently was actually murdered, and there's no say, no talk about that victim. Nobody wants to say anything about that victim, and they'll look at you guys. I'm just surprised. I'm so surprised that people do not want to pay attention to the ones. I'm sorry. I'm just like beside myself with anger right now about it all. But we are living right now in a society, and maybe it's not just now that this is happening. So we have to be very careful about those we surround ourselves with. If they are delusional and they're showing signs of empathy for the worst things possible, you might want to distance yourself, because they are losing their sense of morality. They're losing their sense of right and wrong. You have to start distancing yourself from these kinds of people. Now, part of it is because of misinformation, if you want to call it that. They're being propagandized. They're being misled. The news is painting one side of the story and not giving you the other, right? So maybe they're just not informed. Maybe they just don't understand. But even when you're giving them the facts, They want to see the aggressor as the victim so badly. Could be because there's something inside of them that connects with the aggressor. There's something inside of them that they identify with the aggressor, right? And that makes them think of the aggressor like themselves. And if they're doing that, be very careful about spending time with these people because they can cause you harm and then accuse you of being the aggressor, and take the victim position for themselves. Because that is what narcissists will do. They will lie, cheat, steal, hurt you, attack you, and still say that you were the aggressor. They'll say that they were victimized to the point where they had to come to your house, break down your door, and chase you through your living room attacking you. Right? Like, what? You didn't do this to them. They are coming at you. And people are saying, oh, well, it might have been other things, it was mental torment, this and that. You guys, these are not mentally stable people who are going to be so easily mentally tormented, if you will. I'm just putting that in quotes, air quotes, because the narcissist believes that they are being emotionally harmed when they are not, right? Like you're not even calling them, you're not even talking to them, you're just living your life. And they're going to go through their mental turmoil and and see you somehow as an aggressor because of what they're playing in their head over and over again. That you've moved on, that you found somebody better, that you're more successful now that you're away from them. They're going to somehow spin that as you taking advantage of them, even though they're not even in the picture. There's a high profile crime story that I do that I have covered a couple of times on my channel, and I'll put a link to it. It gets a lot of comments and a lot of Looney Tunes comments, and I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I hope that you guys who are on here right now are not part of that Looney Tunes group. But oh my gosh, yep. And I'll say it, the Betty Broderick story. Absolute insanity. And the people who keep saying, "Oh, but he did this to her. He did." I'm not. What is it? Supporting his side or anything like that, other than the fact that she murdered him. Okay, like no, she crossed the line. But there are people out there who are saying, "No, she didn't cross a line." I'm like, "Oh, so you think it's okay to murder someone because in your mind, you think that they are tormenting you, even though they have very little interaction with you." I know they talked about the children thing, but actually, she put her children in danger. She ran into his house with a truck, knowing that the kids were in the house. I mean, what if one of them was standing behind that door, the front door, when she rammed her truck into it? She has no idea where the kids are in the house when she had this huge fight and she rams her truck into the. Okay, you guys, back up a little bit. Think about this. If someone did that to your house, if someone had it in their mind that you somehow are tormenting them by setting boundaries, by telling them to stop behaving this way, by telling them that there are consequences to their behavior, and part of the consequence is, yeah, the court is not going to look favorably on you to give you kids. Anyway, so you guys, I don't want to get into that because I know some people are not going to see it still. It doesn't matter how much information you give them. I mean, she was even diagnosed by a professional psychiatrist. And I think there were like two people in the world. And at the time, there were only 9. I think there were 9 traits of a narcissist. I think now there are 12. But at the time, there were only 9 that were identified. And they were all grandiose. That's why. I think there are now 3 more signs because now we know there are the, what do you call it? The non-grandiose one, the covert narcissist. So there are 3 more signs. But at the time, she checked off every single box. She had every single of the 9 traits. The psychiatrist came forward and showed she was clinically diagnosed as a narcissist. And yet people will come out and say, no, she wasn't. I'm like, okay, whatever. Whatever. I'm not fighting this fight with anybody. I'm just listing the facts. Well, you guys, I just wanted to share all of that with you guys. They do become obsessed. She became extremely obsessed with her ex. Now, it was her ex who dumped her. It was her ex who moved on with somebody else. And I am totally against cheating on your spouse and all that. Absolutely. Um, yeah. But even if they do that, it's not your right to take their life. It is not your right to go and murder, okay? Anybody who thinks it is absolutely off their rocker and they need to check themselves. If you're starting to think that way, you have got to get checked. You need to check yourself. Do not let yourself get to that point where you are diminishing life, okay? Now, she could have moved on and had a great life for herself. And in fact, she was dating a guy at the time. And, a pretty good looking and younger guy too. So I don't understand why people think that she was so demolished. If that's the truth, then how is it she's dating somebody already? She's already moved on with other people. She was obsessed. She was not demolished. She was obsessed. And narcissists get obsessed with the old supply, if the old supply especially has moved on with someone better. So be very careful of that. Well, you guys, BB Scott, did I say hi already? Yes. Yes. Well, you guys, that is the talk for today. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to say to you. Oh, yeah, it's just a sad situation altogether, completely. The narcissist life, you do not need to be obsessed over them. You do not need to think like things are going to turn out so great for them, because things just don't. Even if they win the lottery, even if they have like the best person, best supply, who's willing to put up with all the abuse and stick, with them to the end of the, time until their, death do us part, even if they have that, their life is miserable. And the new supply's life is miserable. They're getting something out of it. They're not, like I said, high quality person. They may be a very low self-esteem person. They may actually be a narcissist themselves and are waiting out the narcissist. you know, Sometimes narcissists do that. When two narcissists get together, they kind of wait out the other one to get whatever out of the marriage. Anyway, well, you guys are so welcome for this. And oh, hold on. James says, I started writing a book called No Honeymoon. Wow. She was cold as ice. Nobi. Oh man, how could she steal that? I hope that you find a way to recover it. Nobi says he wrote a 300-page book exposing her. And it's true. Nobody would believe it. Well, I don't know. Nowadays, you might have a lot of people believing it because there's so much crazy out there. Well, you guys, that is it for today. I'll let you have a couple of minutes to tie up or end your conversations. I'm so glad that you came on. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thanks to those who recently did that. And give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share my videos if you think that they would help somebody. Hugs to you too, BB Scott. And watch a commercial once in a while. That keeps my channel afloat, you guys. It really does. So blessings to you. Think forward. Be forward thinking, okay? Keep moving forward. You're going to get to a much better place. And time, so long as you're moving forward, time will heal you. If you're not moving forward, doesn't matter how much time there is. You're going to be stuck. So keep moving forward. Blessings to you guys. Hugs to all of you. And do the right thing. Be that quality person. Start making yourself into a quality person, and you're going to attract other quality people. And that, you guys, is what is going to mess up the narcissist even more than anything else you could do. Blessings to you, and I will talk to you next week.